Before there were museums, before there were critics, before anyone called her an artist, Clementine Hunter was already serving a sentence. She was born around Christmas 1886 on a Louisiana plantation into a world that had already decided what she was worth. Her grandparents had been enslaved. Her parents spoke only Creole French. From sunrise to darkness, they worked, not toward freedom, but survival. At 5 years old, Clementine walked to a segregated schoolhouse. Within days, the message was unmistakable. Education was not meant for her. Books were for other children. Her future was in the fields. She attended school for less than a week. Then she never returned. By adulthood, Clementine could not read, could not write, could not sign her name. What she could do was labor. And for the next 50 years, that is exactly what she did. Cotton fields, kitchens, cleaning, raising 7 children. 2 of them died before they could live. One morning, pregnant and exhausted, she picked 78 pounds of cotton. She walked home, gave birth, and returned to the fields days later. This wasn't just hardship. This was a system working exactly as designed. The greatest threat Clementine Hunter faced wasn't hunger or exhaustion. It was disappearance. No photographs, no written records, no paintings, no history books interested in Black Creole laborers along the Cane River. Entire lives were passing through America without leaving evidence they had ever existed. If Clementine lived and died like millions before her, her world, the baptisms, funerals, dances, wash days, the quiet joy between suffering, would vanish without a trace. No headlines, no investigations, no justice. And no one would call that a crime. In 1939, when Clementine was 53 years old, something interrupted that erasure. Not opportunity, not permission, neglect. She was working as a cook at Melrose Plantation, recently transformed into an artist colony. Painters came from across the country to create art in peace. Clementine fed them, cleaned behind them, watched them leave. One artist left without packing her supplies. Paint tubes, brushes, discarded. Clementine found them while cleaning. She had never painted before. No one had ever told her she could create anything worth keeping. But she looked at those colors and made a decision that quietly broke every rule she'd ever been taught. Why waste them? She painted on a discarded window shade, not canvas, because canvas was not for people like her. The image came from memory, a Cane River baptism. Her people, her life, her truth. She sold it for 25 cents. That moment didn't just change her life. It violated the unspoken law that women like Clementine were meant to work, not document. Clementine kept painting on cardboard boxes, bottle caps, scrap wood, jar lids, gourds, anything she could find. She painted cotton harvests, wash days, Saturday night dances, weddings, funerals, the ordinary life of Black Creole Louisiana, a world the art world had decided wasn't important enough to preserve. Critics later labeled her work primitive and childlike. What they failed to understand was this. Clementine Hunter wasn't unskilled. She was untrained by design. Her style wasn't a flaw, it was efficiency. A way to document thousands of moments while working full-time and living in poverty. Her paintings weren't decoration. They were evidence. So valuable that by the 1970s, people began forging her signature. In 1974, a man was charged with producing fake Clementine Hunter paintings. History that was once ignored was now worth stealing. Yet Clementine remained poor. She charged 25 cents to tour her home, $1 for photos. She still couldn't afford canvas. Recognition arrived, but justice lagged behind. Clementine painted past 70, past 80, past 90. She painted until 1 month before her death. In 1986, at age 100, she received an honorary Doctor of Fine Arts degree, decades after critics dismissed her work. She died on January 1st, 1988, leaving behind more than 5,000 paintings. Today, her work hangs in the Smithsonian, the New Orleans Museum of Art, and the National Museum of African American History and Culture, which holds the largest collection by any single artist. Clementine never traveled more than 100 miles from where she was born. She never saw the museums that would one day honor her. But her world survived because she refused to let it disappear. She picked cotton for 50 years, found paint at 53, created an irreplaceable historical record with discarded materials. And that's the real story, real struggles. Crime chronicles exist to tell. Not just crimes of violence, but crimes of erasure, crimes of neglect, crimes committed quietly over generations. Clementine Hunter solved one of them with a paintbrush and a window shade. And now, her truth hangs where it was never meant to be.